Well, we've had several days finding factors. Now it's time to take our practice a few steps further, and we're going to find common factors. Now you might be asking yourself, well, what are common factors? Well, it's pretty easy. It's factors that two or more numbers have in common. And this is going to be very important when we do our unit on fractions. So let's find out how to do this. This would be a very typical problem of finding common factors. So we're asked to find the common factors of 32 and 56. So the first thing I've got to do is I'm going to find the factors of 32. So I'm going to do the factor pairs. So that would be 1 times 32. Since 32 is even, I know 2 is going to work, and I know half of 32. Now when I do this, I usually don't divide by 2. I realize that 32 is made up of a 30 and a 2. Half of 30 is 15. Half of 2 is 1, so that would be 16. So that's a much, much faster way to go through that process right there. You don't have to sit there and divide by 2. You can kind of do that in your head, and it makes it just an overall faster process to go through. All right, so now then, continuing on, 3 plus 2 is 5, so 3 is not a factor. I know 4 is going to be a factor because the 2 is paired with 16, and 16's even. So half of 16 is 4. I'm sorry, half of 16 is 8. So there'd be 4 times 8. Well, I know my multiplication fact anyway, so that helps. So then 5, well, 5 would not be a factor because there's no 0 or 5 in the ones place. 6, well, 2 works, but 3 doesn't, so 6 won't work. 7, nothing times 7 is 32. 8, and yes, I've already got an 8, so that is the end of my search. So all I'm doing is I go through those factoring rules. You can either look at your notes, but I would encourage you to memorize those because they help a whole lot. Okay, now the factors of 56. We'll do the factor pairs. So 1 times 56. 2 is going to work. I know half of 50 is 25. I know half of 6 is 3. So 25 plus 3 is 28, much faster than what I would do when I divide by 2 out there. 5 plus 6 is 11. 3 won't work. However, 4 will because 2 is paired with 28, and 28 is even. So I know half of 28 would be, half of 20 is 10. Half of 8 is 4. 10 plus 4 is 14. So 4 times 14, again, much faster than going out and dividing by 4. Okay, so 5 will not work. No 5 or 0 in the ones place. 6, nope, no 2 and 3 do not work. They both have to work at the same time. Only one of them does. 7, well, I know that 7 times 8 is 56. And then 8 would be my next one to check. So that would be a repeat. So I've got those. Now I'm going to come out here and I'm going to write my common factors. Okay, so I look for the ones they have in common. Well, of course, numbers will always have 1 in common, even if they're prime numbers. These two have 2 in common. They both have 4 in common, and they both have 8 in common. Now, a lot of people would look at these and they would circle the 6 on the 16 and the 6 on the 56, but you can't do that. 16 is a number, 56 is a number. You can't separate out the digits. So no 16 on both sides, no 32 on both sides. So my common factors are 1, 2, 4, and 8. So that's how you find common factors. Okay. So let's see it again. This problem, a little bit longer, but no big deal. Okay, so first, let's find factor pairs for 36. 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, and 6 times 6. So I'm going through a little bit faster this time just because I can. And there's 18. Well, 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. 4 will not work, nor will 5, and 6 would be my repeat. Okay, so now 42. 42's got a few factors here. 1 times 42, 2 times 21. 4 plus 2 is 6, so 3 is going to work. And let's see here, it's going to be 14. 4 is not going to work because the number paired with 2 is 21. That's an odd number. 5 is not going to work. 6 is going to work because 2 and 3 worked. 6 times 7. Next number I try is 7. Repeat. Okay, so those are my factors right there. I've got them all. Now it's time to search for what do they have in common. So I'm going to make a list out here of common factors. Okay, well, as I said earlier, everything will always have 1 in common, even if it's a prime number. Now, since 18 has the fewest factor pairs and fewest factors, I'm going to go from the 18 lists because when I run out of ones there, I don't need to compare anymore. Well, look, they're all even, so all of them have 2 as a factor. They all have 3 as a factor. Look at that, there's 3, 3, and 3. Now, it's not a common factor if just 2 of them share it in their list. So they all have 6 as a factor. There's that one right there. 9, well, these two, 18 and 36, share 9, but 42 does not have 9, so that is not a common factor. It's only common if all of them share it. All have to share it in together. So then 18, well, again, 18 and 36 share 18, but 42 does not have it there. So that is not common. I forgot to circle my 6 here. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, and 6. These are the ones that they all share in common. Now, one other thing I'm going to add to this. We have something we call the GCF. This stands for greatest common factor. This is the common factor that they share that is the largest. In this case, it's 6 because it's the common factor. That's the largest. This one right here, the greatest common factor, is the one that we're going to be using when we do factoring to solve fraction problems. This is the one that you need right here, GCF. All right, so that's how you find common factors, and I even threw a little thing in there how to find the greatest common factor.